Hey everybody, this is Lakisha with Lakisha Keene Saving Greens, and I welcome you to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you what I do for my chickens during fall and winter for their feeding. So usually during summertime, it's hot, I usually feed them the pellets, that you get at the feed store. And they're generally happy with that. But they're most excited over their winter and fall food. I try to, for my own family's health, not use a lot of processed things. And for instance, I don't use like store-bought canned goods as much, or definitely not boxed goods. So, that's just a conviction in my heart that I just don't want to feed my family all the crap that they have in the grocery stores that has additional things to it that's harmful or potentially harmful to us and to our health. So for my animals, I feel the same way. I don't know if you guys remember a few years back, there was this big old scare with dog food being tainted. I haven't taken my dog off of dog food yet. I'm still working out a fresh dog food that I can make for her. As for my chickens though, I don't know what they put in that feed. In those pellets, it's supposed to be grains and stuff, but I don't know. Even if you look at the ingredients on the bags, it's hard to determine what some of the items are because of the names that they're called. And anyways, I feel like if I'm gonna feed myself non-processed food, then I ought to do that for my animals that I love. And like I said, I hadn't worked it out quite yet for my dog and for my cats. But for my birds, it's a little easier because chickens eat anything and everything. And so today I'm just going to show you what my process is for feeding them healthier, natural, live food. Most of you may have heard of Fodder and the Fodder system, and that's what I do for my girls. It actually saves me a lot of money because I don't use as much of the grains. I don't go through it as fast as, let's say, the pellets. My girls go through that like crazy. That's like fast food for them. So that's what I plan on showing you guys today. So bear with me, and I hope that, me sharing this would also inspire you to try it out for your girls. And it's not just chickens that benefit from this. Rabbits, if you have goats, horses, things like that, I should say animals like that. A lot of people use fodder to feed their pasture animals during the winter when there's no grass available, or the grass is dead or frozen or whatever. So it's not too bad. Now my girls, there's some people whose chickens will eat the whole thing. My girls, they eat the seed and the roots, which I'll show you in the process. I'll show you how all that goes. Also, I have a video that I did years and years ago before I even started my channel. It was just a video that I made on my page, my YouTube page, and I'll put the link in the description, and that way you could go back if you want to jump ahead and see how this works. Today I'm just going to show you the process of starting it, and it'll be a series of videos as we follow along with this process, so that you will see in the end how my chickens respond to it, and you can see it for yourselves, how it works, how it grows. Okay, so anyways, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I bought 2 of these bags of whole grains from my local feed store, and both of them combined would be about 100 pounds, almost 100 pounds of grains, as you can see here. And so all I did was, because it's just easier to put this in another container instead of bringing out the whole bag every time I need to replace it, I'll put it in this bucket. Woo, it's heavy. And I'm just going to sit this over here. I'm going to show you my setup. This is my setup, you guys. What I do is I numbered these containers. As you can see, they have numbers 1 through 5. And as you can tell, inside the containers and on the bottom, there are holes. That's for the water to come out. So what I do is I fill up, like number 1 is the one I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna fill this with some of the grains, and I wash it, I put it up there up top, and I let it sit. And I come back in and I water it 2 or 3 times a day. And so what happens is I'll water the top up here, and the water just flows through from this top container underneath where the holes are, down into the next container, which has holes, down into the next container, which has holes, down into the next container, and so forth, until it gets to the very bottom, which I have a container there that has no holes. That's my catch basin for the water. I put the water through 2 or 3 times a day. I guess it really depends on if I'm being lazy or too busy, or at least I'm being honest about the lazy part, because sometimes I just don't feel like getting over here and putting water, or I forget. So it just depends. You know, if I'm running, doing other stuff, I'll flush it through with water in the morning, and then I'll flush it again through with water at night before I go to bed. And if I think about it, I'll flush it through in the afternoon. But usually you do it a good 3 times a day. Some people do it more, but 3 times suffices for me. I'm gonna show you what I do. So I'm gonna try and do this with one hand first. Okay, so what I do is I get my container and I'll fill this little cup here with some grains. Now these grains is a mix of barley and wheat and corn. So I mean, you can see the little grains there. It doesn't take much. I'm just gonna use 2 of these cups to start off with. And it should be about 2 pounds worth of grains in here. Okay, and so I take this over here to my sink, and all I'm gonna do is flush it through with some water. It doesn't have to be hot water or cold water. It could be whatever water you choose. Now this is gonna sound a little interesting, maybe. I do add a little bit of soap to this, and that's just to control the mold, because mold grows in this system a lot. And it took me a while to figure it out, but you know, some people use bleach in their water to kill off any of the mold spores and stuff that could be in this. But I choose to just use some dish soap, and just a little bit of dish soap goes a long way with cleaning this. Also, with this process, this step, it gets the grains wet and soak through, so they'll start the germinating process. Now if you watch other videos, you'll see people usually say let the grains soak overnight in a bucket, and I was doing that for almost 2 years. I did it that way. And you guys think I'm playing when I say sometimes laziness. I got lazy one day and I was like, you know what, I missed it was late at night and I missed soaking the seeds, and I skipped a day, and so I said, well, I'm just gonna put the seeds in there and just see what happens. And you know what? It germinated even faster than me soaking them overnight. So I eliminated that step. It's a step that's not necessary. So, okay. So once you get this all clean, and you just let the water finish draining through like so, we're gonna take this and stick it on the top shelf. And then that'll be it for the first day. Like I said, my girls, they love this. They love when I feed them this. They fight over it. They try and fly out of their run when they see me coming with it. They get so excited over it. So hopefully it'll be something that you might want to experiment with and try out. So anyways, okay, so we take this back over here. And like I said, this goes on the top And it's gonna drip. And I mean, it's meant to drip, but there's nothing in these just yet. All it's gonna do is just drip all the way down, and it'll get caught up in the catch basin, which is what that is for. So tomorrow I'll go through the same process. I'll fill in box number 2 with the grains, and then I'll wash it, and then I'll take box number 1 and move it down to where box number 2 is, and then box number 2 goes on top. And I just keep doing that, and it rotates until finally box number 1 is down here 5 days later, and it will have sprouted roots and possibly some blades of grass. And I just keep it rotating. It's a 5-day rotation because my girls, like I said, they don't necessarily like to eat the green grass. Other people, their chickens eat the green grass and the whole thing. Mine's, they eat the sprouted roots and the seeds, and that's about it. They might accidentally eat some of the grass, but they don't try on purpose. So it doesn't take me 7 or 8 day rotation. When I first started this with them, I was doing that. I think it was a 8 day. It was an 8 day rotation. So their food is always ready to go, and it just rotates. And then every day, once it's started, once I reach number 1 is down here and I start giving this to them, that's when the rotation starts. So I still have some pellets, layer feed, just a little bit that's left, just enough to last them 5 days. And by that time, this will be ready for them to eat. This is what I do for my girls every fall and winter, leading into spring. Summer is when I feed them the pellets because it's just too hot. And even though I run the AC in my house, it's just too hot, and mold. I can't keep the mold at bay, so it's just not worth it to me to do it during that time. Plus, during the summer, they get a lot of scraps and stuff from my garden, so they still get a lot of fresh food plus their feed. With this, they just get this for fall, winter, and spring. This is what they get, and it's fresh, and it's good for them. I just wanted to show you what I do. That's the first process of this. And you saw I only used 2 of those cups for the first day, and look how much is left. Right? Plus, I have this bag right here. Plus, I have a second bag already stored. And all I paid was $35 for it. And this is going to last me like 3 months that I don't have to go and get more. It's all here for them and ready for them to eat. It just takes a little dedication from me, which I don't mind because I love my girls. Oh, and I want to show you with the setup that I have here. This jug right here is where I put the water in. So I'll fill this up and do half the first go round, half the second go round. If it stays kind of dryish or it gets the containers get kind of nasty, then I'll flush it out with one whole one each time, just for the sake of flushing it through. So, and then when this catch basin down here gets full, then I just pull that out, dumping it in my garden or in my compost, that it don't go to waste. But I do not reuse it to flush through the system a second time. I don't do that because that just begs for it to smell. And this can smell pretty bad if you don't flush it through and keep it going. And let's say mold or bacteria or something forms in there, it can put off a really bad smell. So I avoid that by keeping it thoroughly flushed through with fresh water each time. Okay, I just wanted to show that to you guys, and hopefully it will inspire someone to want to try this method of feeding your chickens, your rabbits, so forth with this food. If you Google fodder, you'll see there's so many benefits to it. It's high in protein and they get everything they need. I don't even feed my chickens their shells or oyster shell for their eggs. Their egg shells are usually really thick and they stay pretty hardy. So my guess is that something in the grains is providing them calcium or elements of things that they need, because I don't add anything else to this. Some people, when they mix grains and stuff for their chickens, they add stuff to it that, they swear keeps their chickens healthy and everything. This is a one process deal right here. I don't add any supplements or anything like that to this at all. And this is what I give my girls.